live night show. And so welcome aboard. Welcome aboard to everybody. Just want to check and make sure that we're good with our audio. We are good with our video, okay, because we are also incorporating video into the night show as well, because sometimes it's just a little bit easy for people to kind of match up a voice with a face, okay? Sometimes people prefer to see a face, and so that's the reason why we are incorporating video inside of this as well. So welcome aboard, everyone. Excited to be before you tonight. As you can see, we're a little bit early for the Leadership TKO Live Night Show, but nonetheless, we are indeed here. We're present, right? We're here. We made it. One more day. Let me tell you, there's some people who didn't make it, but God, by God's grace, we are here. We're all here. So it's about 8:34 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this beautiful, beautiful Tuesday evening, depending on where you are in the world. Now, I say this because there are people who tunes in to this night show, and they're actually paying attention to this by way of audio, by way of podcast. So for all of my podcasters out there, hello. So you could be catching the replay of this. You could be catching this live. But needless to say, I welcome you all and thank you so much for being here. Now, the purpose of this show is to empower leaders like yourself with the ability to win. That's right, we're talking about winning, right? From the inside out, growing your influence, your impact, and your income, all right? These three things, influence, impact, and income, is our focus. And we're going to help you to win from the inside out doing this. We definitely have to work on your heart and you have to work on your mind in order for you to grow as leaders. And that's why we're here. And let me just share something with you. For those of you who are not familiar with the Leadership TKO brand, I definitely encourage you to visit our website to learn more about it. So visit www.leadershiptko.com to learn more. Now, here's the deal. We do this show every single evening, normally around 9 o'clock p.m., but sometimes we're a little bit early. And we're early today because directly after this, about 9 o'clock p.m., we're going to be streaming. At least my colleagues will be streaming, and I'll be doing a watch party for an amazing wealth presentation. For those of you who are interested in building wealth, you want to establish financial independence for yourself, and perhaps you want to create generational wealth, something that you can pass on to your children and your children's children. You're going to want to stick around and make sure you stay tuned for the watch party. You're going to get a little notification from Facebook letting you know when I'm live on the timeline doing a watch party. So stay tuned for that. But that's the reason why we're here live and we're here early tonight. So the topic matter, you probably seen the topic matter. It should be somewhere above the video or near this particular podcast area for those of you who are tuning in by way of audio. And we're talking about this concept of mentorship. Mentorship, it is huge. It plays a huge, vital role as to who you are or could be, okay, who you are now and who you could transition or gradually become to be. I love, former First Lady Michelle Obama's book, because that book, Becoming, not only has she sold amazing or a large amount of copies and won awards because of that book, but just think about the concept, becoming. We are all in the process of becoming. I truly believe that. Becoming who God has created us to be. And let me tell you, along the journey, there are key individuals who plays a vital role in helping us along the way. We don't become, that person that we're growing to become by ourselves. There are people who are divinely placed into our lives that helps us to get to where we're trying to go, get to that next destination. We don't fully arrive, right? But we're constantly getting to the next stop, to that next particular area. And there are key people who will do that for you. Now, let me give you an example. In my life, I've had some amazing, amazing people who have contributed to who I am today. And if I was to acknowledge just a few of them, I would definitely have to say, of course, my mom, right? She's helped me to become the strong woman that I am today. Maybe a little strong-willed at times, right? But she's helped me to become the strong woman I am today, knowing who I am, okay? Knowing who I am. And of course, her loving me and accepting me for who I am. But I also know that she knows that there's greatness in me, and she's helped to really push that forward coming up as a young woman. especially in the inner city, right? So she's played a vital role. Then you have my grandmother, right? Grew up with her. She actually provided a great model with my grandfather when he was here, a great model as to what a marriage looks like, and a healthy one, a partnership as well. Because they worked hand in hand together, right? One person going to work during the day, another person at night, making things work, making sure that the kids are well taken care of, the grandkids well taken care of, all was well. And it was a bunch of us in the house. It must have been about 6 or 7 of us in the house. And, we thought that we were living pretty good. We thought. Okay, there's another story behind that piece, right? But needless to say, my grandmother, she's played a vital role. And many other individuals in the academic arena has played a role. And even my spiritual development. I've had mentors, pastors to really take me under their wing and provide discipleship for me. And so it helped me to become the woman, the leader that I am today. And there are some individuals who recently came into my life, mentors when it comes to business, when it comes specifically to leadership, like people like Dr. John Maxwell, and of course, the legend, CEO of Wealth Builders Worldwide, Mr. Tyrone Best, and the amazing living legend himself, I call him a living legend, and coach, Mr. Michael L. Dalco. And so I'm extremely humbled and grateful for their mentorship and their coaching, but it's important that you recognize key individuals in your life as home-based business owners who are going to help you to grow to become who you are in the future. Who do you want to become? That's the question. But here's what I would love to do, because I like to provide some sound, great content, that you'll be able to take from this today. Let's talk a little bit about mentorship, all right? And I know, for example, Robert Kiyosaki in his book, Cash Flow Quadrant, speaks about mentorship, right? And he actually defines what a mentor is. But in the confines of the word mentorship, right? When you Google it and you look it up, mentorship is a relationship in which a more experienced or more knowledgeable person helps to guide a less experienced or less knowledgeable person. Now, the mentor can be older or younger than the person being mentored, but he or she must have a certain area of expertise. Okay, that person has to have an area of expertise. I'm grateful for John Maxwell. His expertise is leadership. Hello. Like when you think about leadership, you think about Dr. John Maxwell. And if you are watching this or listening and you don't know who John Maxwell is, look him up, right? He will definitely transform your life with the content and the value that he provides, right? So when I think of, for example, the network marketing industry, there are a couple of people who come to mind. And of course, quite recently, Mr. Tyrone Best comes to mind immediately. And there are some other greats as well out there, like Mr. Eric Worre, right? Many of you know him because he wrote the book called Go Pro, right? Go Pro. Many of you know about that book. So these were individuals who played an important role, including Mr. Robert Kiyosaki, because I've had the opportunity to really receive guidance and coaching from his team. And so these individuals have helped not just myself to grow, but my businesses to grow by leaps and bounds. If it wasn't for these individuals, my company would not be as global, reaching the lives of many more people around the world as it's doing now. Okay? And so who are those individuals in your life who are mentors? I want to actually address some points that Robert Kiyosaki actually makes in the book here. All right? Because here's the deal. You have to have important people in your life to help you to get to where it is that you're trying to go, right? You have to. Absolutely. You just can't do it by yourself. Having a home-based business and growing a home-based business is about growing you as a leader and connecting with people who have been there and done that can help you to get to where you're trying to go. So here are some of the tips that Robert Kiyosaki provides as it pertains to mentorship. He says, number one, of course, seek mentors, right? Find individuals in both, for example, the investment and business arenas who might act as mentors to you. He says also seek out role models and learn from them. You know, Robert Kiyosaki had his rich dad and his poor dad, and he learned from both of those dads in his life, right? So he learned from both of them. But he also says in the book, he says, seek out reverse role models. Now, when I heard that and I read about it, I said, whoa, we all have reverse role models, but we don't really acknowledge it or label it as such. Now, the way that he described reversed role models, he says, is those people that you actually have in your life where you learn not to do what they've done. Okay, you learn not to do what these individuals have done. That's called reverse role models. And we might have people like that in our lives, or have had people like that in our lives, where they simply did some things, made some mistakes. You learn from their mistakes, and they are what we call reverse role models. He also says about mentorship, he says, who you spend your time with is your future. Now that will speak, that will preach right there. Who you spend your time with is your future. Here is my question to you. Who are you spending your time with? I mean, a lot of your time with. Okay? Write down 6 people you spend the most time with. Okay? Write them down. Right? Write them down. I know for myself, I spend a lot, of course, of virtual time, but I spend a lot of in-person time, face-to-face time with those individuals whom I call wealth builders, my wealth building family. And they're located here in the Tidewater area of Virginia. I spend a lot of time with them when we come together for meetings, when we network, and things of that nature. Of course, I spend time with my husband and my kids and with my church family. And so think about it for yourself. Who are you spending a lot of your time with? And he says, when you've written down those names, he says, in your list of 6 people, after each person's name, list the quadrant that they operate from. Remember, in this particular book here, he talks about the 4 quadrants. He says what? You got the E quadrant, you got the B quadrant, the S quadrant, and the I quadrant. Those in the E and the S quadrant, yes, they're bringing in revenue and cash flow. However, they're restricted to time, right, and financial freedom. There's not much there. They're not going to accomplish financial freedom being an employee, and they're not going to accomplish time freedom as a self-employed professional. But for those who are in the B quadrant and the I quadrant, like his rich dad, you can accomplish time freedom. You can accomplish, financial freedom and location freedom at that. Okay. So when you're writing down your list of individuals, you want to definitely note, after each person's name, the quadrant that that individual is actually operating from. Are they all employed, but yet you're trying to be a business owner? That's something to think about. Are they all self-employed and you're trying to be a business owner and trying to accomplish freedom? That might not help much, okay? So think about that for yourself. He also says the next step is to list each person's level as an investor. Now that really is based upon whether you want to be an investor or not. I encourage you to learn about investing if you want money to work harder for you. Those who are employed, those who are self-employed, you're working hard for money right now. You're exchanging your hours of your life that you cannot get back. You're exchanging it for cash, okay? That's how you're bringing in cash into your life. And so you want to think about that for yourself, because Warren Buffett made it clear in his statement. He says, if you don't learn how to make money while you sleep, you're going to work until you die. So the question, right? The real question for yourself personally is, where do you want to be? Right? And think about those individuals in your life, because if you're hanging around with a whole lot of employed people and they're not moving and transitioning or a part of the B quadrant or the I quadrant, that's not going to help you. That's not going to help you to make that transition. For those of you who want to be free, hang around financially free people. If you want money to start working hard for you, connect with people who is having money to work hard for them. And that's why I personally, I'm so grateful. I believe that definitely this is a part of a calling that God has enabled me and my husband to connect with some amazing people who reside around the world, and they have a like mind. These people are connected to a money system where they're learning how to have money, and they're actually doing it, having money to work hard for them. These people are firing their bosses. These people are generating passive income on a weekly basis, and they're plugged into a system that enables them to be able to accomplish their goals and create generational wealth. We already know that we don't know the day nor the hour when we're exiting this earth, right? So what are you going to pass on to your children? Is it going to be just debt? Or are you going to pass on assets to be a part of your estate that your kids and your children's children will be able to benefit from and live off of? You don't want them to try to figure out how to pay off your debt. And that's what the money system is going to help people to accomplish. And it's doing that. We've had people a part of the money system where they've passed on, they've entered beneficiaries into their money system, their money account, right? And now the people who are still living, the beneficiaries, are benefiting from the work of the person that's passed on. So ask yourself the question right now. Are you connected to the right people? Do you have strong mentors in your life? And I'm going to tell you right now, that's actually something that I provide. I consider myself to be a wealth mentor. I'm mentoring hundreds of people around the world, helping them to plug into this amazing money system that's free, might I add, to plug into. And so I want to encourage you, get plugged into the money system. For those of you who want mentors, a part of this system, we have a culture. We have a bigger group. It's called Wealth Builders Worldwide. And within this group, there are people, experts, who would love to coach you, to mentor you when it comes to building wealth. And I'm a part of that community as well. And so I want to invite you to definitely get back with the person that may have shared this particular video with you. They are probably a mentor as well. Let them know that you want information about this money system. You want to learn. You want mentorship. You want people in your circle that's going to help you to get to where you're going, because you're becoming, that person that God has called you to be. And I am not done. I know my journey is not finished just yet, because obviously I'm still here and I'm talking with you tonight. So for those of you who are watching on my timeline, or you're listening in by way of podcast, and you're like, Lakeisha, I need a wealth mentor. I want to build wealth. I want to establish passive income, even if it's a couple of $100 per week or per month. That will make a huge difference, perhaps for you and everybody that we're connected to. Many people right now are struggling, right? Hustling. And the hustle is not necessary. It's not necessary, right? It's not necessary. It's just going to burn you out. Okay, so get back with me, or get back with the person that may have shared this particular stream with you, this podcast with you tonight. And we are preparing right now, because the wealth presentation is going to be coming up in just a few moments. Again, stay tuned. A watch party notification from Facebook. You're probably going to get that from me, right? That way you'll be able to tune into the presentation right on the Facebook platforms. For those of you who are not on Facebook and you're listening in somewhere else, on Tuesdays and on Thursdays, there's a wealth presentation. You can always tune in at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time by going to www.goldrocks.info. Again, that's www.goldrocks.info. Make sure you downloaded the Zoom app, because it's going to direct you to a Zoom meeting, and it should automatically connect you. If you have questions about it, let me know, and I'll be more than happy to help you. So again, thank you so much for your time, everyone. We are preparing to get ready to watch that presentation. Tune in, plug in, grab your free wealth building account. That's right, your account that's going to get you on the path to financial and time freedom. Thank you so much, everyone. And until the next time that you and I come together again, I do want to encourage you to think, to speak, and to live leadership. Good night, everyone, and God bless.